Hi everyone, I'm Attiganal, and my TED Talk is about compassion. The world is getting more competitive by the day. We compete to get into college, then we compete to get a job. I even had to compete to get into this program. And competition is a good thing. It drives us to be better, and we strive for excellence through competition. For example, how many of you play a sport? Yeah, so for all of those of you, I think you'd understand when I say when you go up against a better opponent, you automatically do a little better yourselves, right? So that's how competition is helpful, and competition is definitely essential in our lives. So we strive to be the best versions of ourselves, and scientists in our community help us by coming up with various ways of doing this. One of the more recent technologies is CRISPR. CRISPR is a molecule that goes into the human DNA, cuts out specific parts of it, essentially altering the human genes. This makes us a better version of ourselves at a molecular level, which is saying a lot. So in this competitive world, where do we know when to draw the line? How do we know when we should stop being so competitive and start showing a little compassion towards each other? When should we start understanding each other and understanding what each one of us is going through? So I had various experiences when I was at this preceptorship with Kaiser. And one of the ones that stuck with me was when I was shadowing a charge nurse in one of the departments. He was talking to me about a various number of things. But one of the things he told me was about this one physician. She was top of her class at Stanford Med. And he told me that she knew anything that you could possibly want answered. And I was thoroughly impressed. I mean, Stanford Med, come on. Getting into Stanford itself is extremely hard. And being on top of her class in Stanford Med, that's no joke. So I was really excited to meet her. And when I did meet her, she came up to me, she had this wide smile on her face, and she shook my hand, introduced herself. And then she started talking to the charge nurse. She said, all right, let's get this patient ready in 5 minutes and get them into the procedure room and get this procedure done with. The charge nurse stood there and looked at her and said, how about we give the patient about 10 minutes, and once I get them into the procedure room and settled, I'll call you. And she was like, yes, for sure. And when she walked away, the charge nurse looked at me and said, she's fresh out of med school, so she has all this energy and drive to do better. And he told me that since she comes from such a competitive and hardcore environment, she sometimes forgets what it means to be a human. Like, she forgets that we have to slow down and we're not machines. We have to take our time, understand the other person's situation. Going into a major procedure is extremely daunting for a patient, and because she's a doctor, she forgets that sometimes. And that's what that kind of stuck with me, and I realized that in this competitive world, we just forget to take care of each other and look out for each other sometimes, which is sometimes the most important thing to do. So when I went back home that day, I reflected hard. I wondered what it truly means to be compassionate. And I compiled a list of 4 things that we can do to be more compassionate on a day-to-day basis. First thing is self-care. We need to take care of ourselves in order to be the best versions of ourselves. And when you go on airplanes and they say, oh, put on your oxygen mask first before you put on your child's oxygen mask or the person who sits next to you. That's because if you are not in full health, or if you're not feeling okay, there's a very low probability that you will be able to do anything for anyone else around you. There are also other prominent YouTubers like Lily Singh, Alicia Mary, and Liza Koshy that all took a break from YouTube this year. Why? Because they were tired and they were burned out from the competitive edge of YouTube and how much the viewers were asking from them. They all took a break for themselves to realize what they truly wanted. They were not happy with the content they were producing or the views they were getting. And once they did take the break and came back, they were so much happier as individuals, and their quality of content improved drastically. That is step 1 for compassion. Step 2 is reach out with genuine concern. Be genuinely concerned about the other person you're talking to and ensure that they know that you care about them. Be present in the moment. That's step number 3. Be there for them now. Don't stand in front of a person talking to them and then have 10 other things on your mind. We all have 100 things that we have to take care of right this moment. And I'm sure half of you are zoning out to me right now, and that's fine. But what is important when you're trying to be compassionate towards someone else is being able to understand what they're going through, and the best way to do that is being there at that moment. Step 4 is speak from your heart. Because don't give people fake advice. Don't tell them something when you mean something else entirely. Be genuine about what you speak about. So by implementing all these steps that I think would help, I feel we all would be a little more compassionate and make this world a little happier, and because a little smile goes a long way. Thank you.